जनाब जम्मू कश्मीर की खबरों पर, लेकिन बात जरा दिल्ली की ही है, क्योंकि बयान जो सामने आया है वो साबिक वजीर खजाना डॉक्टर हसीब द्राबू का है और दिल्ली के अंदर जम्मू कश्मीर पर मुनक्किदा अहम तरीन सेमिनार से उन्होंने बात की है, जिस दौरान उन्होंने दफा 370 पर भी अपनी बात रखी। न सिर्फ दफा 370 पर बात रखी है, बल्कि यह भी साफ कर दिया है कि मरकजी हुकूमत की जो पॉलिसियां हैं वो किसी भी सूरत में जम्मू कश्मीर के हक में नहीं है। और जिस तरीके से यह दावा पेश किया गया था कि 370 रुकावट है तरक्की के अंदर, दरअसल एदाद शुमार इसके बरक्स है। कॉन्फ्रेंस इंडियन हैबिचुअल सेंटर दिल्ली के अंदर मुनक्किद हुई थी, जिस दौरान सूरत हाल पर तबादला ख्याल किया, पीडीपी पर भी बरस पड़े और यह साफ कर दिया कि जो कुछ हो रहा है इससे एक नई सोच उभर कर आई है और यह नई सोच जो जमहूरियत की जड़ें मजबूत करने के लिए होनी चाहिए थी वैसी नहीं है, बल्कि डिवीजन हो गया है और यह डिवीजन इंतहाई खतरनाक है। एक तरफ से यह कहा गया, दूसरी तरफ से मरकज पर यह इल्जाम लगाया गया कि हमेशा वॉइसेस को खत्म करने की कोशिश की गई। एक जमाने में नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का मुकाबला करने के लिए अवामी नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस को बनाया गया, फिर आगे चलते हुए पीपल्स डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टी को बनाया गया, जबकि सूबा जम्मू के अंदर वॉइसेस को असेंबल किया गया, न कि इस तरीके से डिवाइड किया गया। डॉक्टर हसीब द्राबू टेक्निकल बात रख रहे थे, जो सेमिनार चल रहा था, सिंपोजियम चल रहा था, और किन अल्फाज का उन्होंने इस्तेमाल किया जरा फटाफट से सुन लीजिएगा, क्योंकि बहुत बड़ी खबर डॉक्टर हसीब द्राबू ने जिस तरीके से एनालिसिस जम्मू कश्मीर के हालात का किया है।
Last point that you made, that Kashmir is not unique in having voted for religious things, is actually the tragedy. Because when Kashmir joined India, it was not on religion, like everybody else, including Bengal. So it is quite tragic that a state that had voted voluntarily under leadership, which is today being blamed, of National Conference, to join the Indian Union, was the only one to do so on the principles that violated the principles of partition, which was religion. So a Muslim majority state joined India. Now, if that state has gone to vote on religious lines, then it's a very big tragedy. Point number one. Two, there is no development narrative in 370. I'm an economist. I've spent 30 years of my life working on Kashmir economy. I will send you documents after documents. On every single indicator, we were better than Gujarat. Every single indicator, without exception. And data not produced by the Statistical Organization of Jammu and Kashmir, but by the NAS, National Accounts Statistics of India. I will share that with you. I'll take your email so that I can convince you of that. So there is no developmental narrative. As regards 370, when I said that what is there to abrogate, there are states right now where you and I cannot buy land. There are states now where you and I cannot travel without a permit, which is what J&K had. It was not unique. Along with 370, there was 371A, 371B and C and so on, which continue to be there. So India remains an asymmetric federation. It has been done only in the case of J&K that this was removed. The point I was trying to make was every single law and constitutional act applied to J&K, which was done, and I'm not saying this, it was said by the Home Minister of India in 1962 that we have done away with this. Why 370 came into being? It was never a part of Kashmir. It was not negotiated for J&K. Never. It was there in the Government of India Act of 1918 to rule the province, and Government of India Act 1935. Exactly that was replicated here. So there's nothing unique about it. Third, where the element came in was Article 35A, which wasn't there for anybody else, which was the real story of having said that has to be removed. So that part was the only one. 370 had nothing to do with it. I am not sure of what the gentleman there was asking me about in terms of infrastructure development and stuff. Yes, there are styles of governance. Congress and others like the Janata Dal, the NDA, the UPA, whatever they were, had a Kashmir policy. BJP has a different policy. I have said this many times over, that they have done what they have done with legitimate powers. And they have said this for 50 years that we want to abrogate it. So there's nothing against Modi or not Modi. It's a policy that was done. I think the interesting part of the BJP policy, which I saw as an analyst, was Congress used to run J&K through the security prism or through the intelligence, or what Usman called the deep state. BJP moved away from that and ran the Kashmir policy with a political agenda and a political firmness. And they lived with it perfectly fine. There's no absolute no grudge with it. Where I have said this many times, and that is how I would conclude, is the continuance of Article 370 was the biggest fraud perpetuated by the Congress on the people of J&K. And the abrogation of 370 was the biggest beguilement on the people of India. This is my bottom line. Nothing changed. Try and buy land today. Not possible. And why would, what investment has gone there? Let's look at it that way, no? Show me 1 rupee investment which has come. I have myself ferried people from Bangalore, from Maharashtra, from West Bombay, please invest. I have taken people like Azim Premji, Narayan Murthy, Anand Mahindras of the world saying, please invest. Not a single rupee invested in 50 years. Why? What was the problem? If 370 was the problem, then there should have been tons and tons of money going in. Has one corporate gone to the rest of the country? And what are we talking about? 1960s. Birla's invested in Jammu, Chenab Textile Mill, still the largest one. If there were restrictions on investments in Kashmir, why? How did it happen in 1961? 62? Taj Hotels had a hotel in Srinagar. Oberoi's were there. What wasn't there? अभी आप बता रहे हैं कि there was no Panchayati Raj in J&K. 1946 under Maharaja Hari Singh's rule enacted. 1989 considered to be the most radical Panchayati Raj done by people who have done academic work on it. That's not the issue. One of the things is we try to ignore what was there. Please spend some time on trying to see what was the biggest hurt that one has is how J&K was the first state in the world where a democratically elected government instituted land reforms, the most radical land reforms anywhere in India, anywhere in the world. Kerala happened under the communist regime later. You will be scared, you will find it difficult to find one book on land reforms in Jammu and Kashmir. There are tomes and tomes written on Kerala. Because you don't recognize the realities of that. But longer, there are others who will have to respond.
हसीब द्राबू का उस खुतबे का एक छोटा सा हिस्सा मैंने आपके सामने रख दिया। आज दिन भर इस पर चर्चा भी होगी, लेकिन बड़ी बात उन्होंने हिस्टोरिकल प्रोस्पेक्ट में भी कुछ बातें बताई। साबिका हुकूमतें जम्मू कश्मीर को किस तरीके से देखती थी, प्रिज्म कौन सा था, सिक्योरिटी और इंटेलिजेंस प्रिज्म, और बीजेपी ने एक पॉलिटिकल फ्रेमवर्क के तहत काम किया। काम होने के बाद किस तरीके की जो आवाजें आ रही है इन्वेस्टमेंट और डेवलपमेंट की, उस पर डॉक्टर हसीब द्राबू ने एक डिटेल डिस्कशन के अंदर अपनी बात रखी है। आज दिन भर आप हमारे साथ बने रहिएगा, इस पर मजीद बातें जो वहां पर हुई है वक्फे वक्फे से आप तक पहुंचाएंगे। फिलहाल